everybody, welcome to our podcast. My name is Hansel. I'm here with my best buddy, Wayne. We run a company together called The Coder School, and we even wrote a book. And boy, have we had some fun adventures in the last 10 years getting to where we are today. Thinking back, it made us realize that, as the podcast title says, we are so Asian.
So Asian.
So we thought it'd be cool to hear the adventures of other interesting and successful Asians out there too. So that's what this podcast is all about. Wayne, handing it to you. Who's our awesome guest today?
Our guest today is a very close friend and kind of family, as she's the godmother of my daughter. She's a graduate of Duke University. I have to boo a bit though, because I rooted against Christian Laettner and Bobby Hurley.
Nobody likes Christian
I do have to give it a nod. It is a great
Wow.
and top school. Yeah, you haven't been introduced yet. You got to hold.
Yeah.
She's also
hold on, Alice.
she's a very rare breed in that she has built a career staying loyal to one company, which is Deloitte, where she's managing director. Let's welcome Alice Liu.
Oh, because she's a friend. I get it.
Yeah, the
All
friend
right.
circle. Yeah,
Wow.
special friend.
Well,
Yeah.
Alice, welcome. We appreciate you coming on. I know you know Wayne a lot better than you know me, but tell us, start us off this podcast here. Tell us about what you do these days and who you are.
Sure. So, wow. What I do, who I am. So what I do is accounting for income taxes.
But don't be too boring.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't get
It's
into the
already
weeds.
boring.
It's
Keep
very-
going.
Accounting and tax,
I've been-
those two
Yeah.
words together, accounting, and then you put
skip over
taxes in
that
that.
I
Yeah.
know, right? It's a double whammy, but I've been doing it for 18 years. So
That's crazy.
to me, I've been blessed. I feel like I'm lucky to be able to do what I do. Even if, accounting and income taxes combined or even separate is the worst thing you can think of as to build a career around it.
Right.
But I have. So that's what I do. I'm in the national office for at Deloitte, and I've been in this group for 18 years since 2008. And in the middle of it, I spent 2 years with the Shanghai Deloitte
That's right.
office, pretty much doing the same thing.
Oh, cool.
pretty much doing the same
in
thing.
Shanghai. You're actually
In Shanghai.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. That's
in
cool.
Shanghai.
So Deloitte, I always think of Deloitte because I worked at Accenture back when it was called Anderson Consulting, way a long time ago. But I think of it as a white consulting type of place. How is it being like a woman Asian at Deloitte? Is it like, do you see a ceiling at all?
Well, you have a set of balls, though, right, Alice? So I think that helps you fit in.
Yeah.
I think I have bigger balls than
most.
than most.
I can
Okay?
see that.
Well, that's what people tell me. Now,
Yeah.
myself,
I just told
don't
you.
know, but I've been told.
Yeah.
I think I probably my perspective maybe is a little skewed because I've spent my whole entire career in San Francisco. So San Francisco may be a little bit or a lot more diverse than the rest of the country or the rest of the world. I certainly don't have that perspective, like the sense that it's the white world, because I spent my whole career in San Francisco. As a matter of fact, I don't know, I haven't done a exact comparison, but I feel like the percentage of the staff and at Deloitte who's Asian or non-white is pretty much close to what the population would be.
Oh, really?
Maybe not so at the senior manager, at the partner level, but maybe at the entry level. But that's not because we just don't promote Asians or non-white folks.
Yeah.
It's a matter of, it's just a basic normal attrition.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Interesting. I guess that makes sense. San Francisco is pretty
Diverse.
I guess diverse is the word, or just very Asian, I guess is the other word.
Yeah, diverse
Both.
or Asian. Right.
Diversely Asian. That's the new phrase.
So you were in Shanghai for a couple of years. So you also grew up in Shanghai, I think, right? So rewind it all the way back there. So let's talk about your way back when. So you grew up in Shanghai with, I think, your grandparents, you're saying. Tell us about what that was like.
So I grew up with my grandparents. I was told, of course, I don't remember. I was left with my grandparents probably within the month after I was born.
Wow.
Because my
Wow. That's
So of course, I don't recall.
I mean,
that.
your mom was
positive,
barely
right?
recovered.
My mom just basically had me and then, spent maybe like a month like 坐月子, right? In Chinese, like
Oh
a month
yeah.
of recuperating, and after that month, she's like, I'm out of here. No.
But
To
So,
is
go
it
where? Like,
so my parents were in. So that was I was born in 1972. I think that was like in the middle of the Cultural Revolution. And my parents were both in universities. My dad was in Beijing University at the time, and my mom was in a university in Shanghai studying
wow.
chemical engineering. My dad was chemistry at Beijing University.
So they were pretty young then.
They were, yeah, they were very
were
young when
they
the Cultural
married
Revolution.
already, or was this premarital
No,
sex?
no, no. So the story that I was told, and I don't know how true it is to the story, but um they got sent to the Cultural Revolution happened, and I think it was in 1970 that they were both sent to a somewhere in Qinghai. Qinghai is a city near Tibet. And I don't know if you remember, but there was a rather huge earthquake in Qinghai that killed a lot of young
Oh
kids in
wow.
school because of the quality of like the
Buildings.
building, blah, blah, blah. So it
Yeah.
made news. So that was the city they got sent to. And
Wow.
distance wise, it's pretty much East Coast versus West Coast,
Yeah.
the
Pretty
distance between
far.
Shanghai and that city. How they met is actually kind of cool. So they were both on this train that took a week because they didn't have like bullet trains back then. So the train from Shanghai to Qinghai basically took a week, and there was a stop in Beijing. And my mom's older sister lived in Beijing at the time. So, of course, when families didn't live in the same city, they rarely got to see each other back then. So, because my mom was going to go through Beijing, they made plans to kind of see each other at the train station at
Mm.
Beijing. So, when the train made a pit stop in Beijing, my mom there was like just people in the Beijing train station. Like it was just so hard for people to meet, right? Back then, there's no cell phones.
Yeah, you can't
Yeah, really,
call.
really say I'm standing by
And
what,
everybody
right?
looks the same.
Yeah, and
Right.
everybody looks the same. They all have
So
black
my mom
hair.
was literally calling out her sister's name, and my dad, I guess, heard it, and he's like, "Well, you're not loud, so you're never gonna find your sister that way."
Oh,
And
that's cute.
I'm loud, and it's taken after my dad, the volume, right?
Yeah,
So he
you're like your
starts to
dad.
help my yeah, he starts to help my mom by screaming out her sister's name, and because of his help, my mom got to say hi to
Oh,
the
that's
sister.
cute.
That's
So
awesome.
then when they got to the city, they both got off the train, and then they found out they were assigned to the same factory. And when they
Wow.
got to the same factory to report, they found out they got assigned to the same group. So
Hey,
that is how my
Oh, that's
parents
cute.
meant to
started
be.
dating and married and had me. So that was 1972. And then my mom went back to Shanghai to have me because Qinghai at the time, everything, the food was like you had a ration coupon. You ate like meat once a month. You had egg once a month. You like, so they were like, we can not, like raise a baby in that condition. So my mom had me in Shanghai and left me in Shanghai. And so that was 1972. I think I was not even a month old. So I don't remember
I
any of
mean,
that.
on a positive, that probably you didn't have to deal with abandonment because there's no
Well,
abandonment really. You just were,
Well, my
you know,
parents kind of worry that I may feel abandoned, but I made it clear to them like I do not feel abandoned at all. So don't worry, I'm not in therapy. Like if
yeah.
I felt abandoned, I might be in therapy, but I mean not in therapy. I don't feel abandoned. I understand completely the circumstances under which, oh, Hansel
Oh,
lost.
I guess
So
he
I
will. Yeah,
understand
you can keep going
completely
because I'm the
I
host.
understand completely the circumstances under which I was left in the care of my grandparents. It was for my own good, right? It was for that I have a better environment, better living condition to grow up in. So no, I don't feel abandoned at all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I think that that's kind of key that if maybe you were 5 or 6 and you already were conscious of them living with them
right,
and then being separated will be
right.
a
Maybe,
kind of an
maybe,
issue.
maybe that's yeah, maybe that's different. But what's interesting is that in that 13 years, as I mentioned, if your family back then lived very far apart, you didn't see each other very often because of the cost involved, right? Like back then, everyone's monthly salary was like 10 US dollars, right? It's like so tiny, like we can't even fathom to have a monthly salary of $10 USD, right? But back then, that's what the monthly salary was. So like as adult children in China, and maybe even in this day, you had to give some of your salary to your elderly parents to support their living expenses. So they had to send money back home for my grandparents. They also had to send money back to help my grandparents with my living expenses. And then they separately had to save money for like train trips back to China to visit me. So I think in the 13 years, I probably saw my mom, I don't know, 6, 8 times, and my dad maybe less than maybe 5 times in 13 years. So when I came to the US to live with my parents, I think I was literally coming here to live with strangers because everything I knew about my parents, I heard from my grandparents, from our neighbors, from our other relatives. Because I didn't really have an opportunity to get to know my parents. I just remember my mom was very strict, right? Whenever she visited me, she would hover over me when I did my homework and have a ruler in in her hand.
In her hand.
So
Would she beat you with it? Did she actually slap you with it?
Wrote my Chinese character, like if the one stroke was off, like I would, get a hit on my hand.
Exactly.
So the other thing I remember about my mother is that she, as a mother, she would often do my hair, and I had long hair, and she would put it in a ponytail, and she would do it so tight, literally I'm hurting, right? She's putting me in pain because she's doing my ponytail so tight. So those are the two basically the memories I have of my mom when I came to live with my parents. I had no memory of any interaction with my dad. I just know my dad from what my grandparents tell me, what the relatives tell me, what my neighbors have told me, that my dad's like the perfect man, right? He's smart, handsome, he's really nice, he has no
He
temper.
is actually.
He's like this perfect guy.
So wait, did you not see maybe I missed it. Did you not see your mom and dad for like 13 years until you moved to the US?
No, I saw them, but like I was saying, in the 13 years, I don't know exact, but in my mind, I think I saw my mom like 8 times, and my dad maybe like a handful of times. So I don't really think if you say like I didn't know my parents. I didn't know who they were until I came to the US. Like in my mind, when they told me I was coming to the US to live with my parents, in my mind, I was like, I might as well be going to live with strangers, right?
Wow, that's crazy. And then what about your grandparents? Where were they? So you moved to the US and then hung out with your mom and dad, and your grandparents were still back in China then? And then did you see that? Did you see them at all after that?
No, I didn't see them until my senior year in 1990. So 5 years. So I moved to the US in 1985, April of 1985. So April of 2025, I had my 40-year anniversary of being in the US. That was pretty cool. But my grandparents, after I came here in 1985, I didn't see them again in 1990 when they came to the US.
That must have been kind of shocking, right? I mean, they basically raised you.
That was really hard.
Right.
Yeah, that was really hard because I think for definitely back then and still to this day, I consider my grandparents to be my first parents, right?
Yeah,
They're grandparents, but like how you define grandparents and parents, but they did all the parenting.
Yeah. Did you, I mean, so then you saw them 5 years later, but are they still in China? I guess they probably passed by now.
No, my grandmother passed away in 1998. Okay. And then my grandfather passed away in 2000.
And they were in China. You were never able to move them over or anything like that. So it was just you saw them very rarely then since you were here.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome that they came in 1990, my senior year. So then I graduated from high school. I go to Duke, and then it was pretty cool because my grandparents came with us when my parents dropped me off as a freshman at Duke. So I have pictures of them touring the campus and whatnot. So that was
Oh,
super
wow.
cool. But then once I graduated from college and I became a US citizen with a green card, then my ability to go back was easier, right? Like I couldn't go back because of my visa status or my parents' visa status. But once I became a citizen, I pretty much went back every single year after 1994, starting 1994, until they
Oh, that's
passed
cool.
away.
Yeah.
Until,
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
telling this, we were
yeah.
talking about this before the podcast, but how, Wayne and I, most of the people we know are actually not mainland Chinese people, or they're more Taiwanese or Hong Kong. You're one of the few that I know, but you mentioned that you thought that a lot of the mainland people have the same
Well, and
background.
then that gave me a memory that I read Simu Liu's book, and he lived with his
Oh,
grandparents, and then got
Yeah.
reunited with his parents,
oh, that's
and
right.
he said that he was all pissed off, like he
He was
did not
mad.
want it. Those were his real parents, and he was like, "This is a total
So
Oh
stranger."
he
Like
yeah. Yeah,
he's
he
yeah,
also
yeah.
from
was
mainland, I
scared.
guess.
It was
Yeah, he's
Oh,
mainland.
mainland.
wow.
He's
Yeah.
mainland
So
Chinese. Yep, that's actually
I think
exactly
he's a
right.
little younger though, but
He's younger, so I
he
don't know the
doesn't look younger
circumstances
than
of
you
his
though, Alex.
marriage.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
What
he
does it
might be.
mean? Look
But
wise.
still, it was a
Yeah.
similar
So
thing. And in his book, that was a cool
and,
part
and
of
why
it.
why is that? Why is it so there's a lot of the mainland folks who end up being raised by their grandparents, I guess you said?
Yeah, it would. It's probably different circumstances, but I think, for people my generation, I wouldn't be surprised if their circumstances is similar to mine. Like their parents just got sent off to, like they could have been sent to be farmers to live with like in a farming community, or like my parents in a
Yeah.
factory. So they were basically not allowed to read any sort of technical books, right? Like, yeah, there's just it's a
Oppression,
disconnect
man.
from the
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's just the Cultural Revolution is, you
So
can
so
probably,
what
I
does
don't
that
know,
mean?
do a whole podcast.
What are the
Yeah.
grandparents doing at that time? Like do they have a job when they're in Shanghai raising you guys?
Well, no, my grandparents were my grandmother was a stay-home
Hmm.
mom, and then my grandfather was a math teacher in high school.
Even when he was raising you
He
guys?
actually,
Raising you?
yeah, I think so. I think
Wow.
I don't remember when he
Yeah.
retired, but he might have been teaching still when I was first born, but he probably retired soon
Okay. So
after.
the grandparent
Yeah.
generation, basically, they're still able to have jobs in like the big city, so it's more stable. Whereas the middle generation, your parent generation, they're typically sent off somewhere, and that's why there's a lot of mainland folks.
Well, but that's because of the Cultural
Yeah, yeah,
Revolution. I mean, if it wasn't for the Cultural Revolution, I think people back then basically, unless like my dad went to Beijing University, right? He was Shanghainese. So after graduation, he might have stayed in Beijing or he might have come back to Shanghai.
Hmm.
But
Right.
yeah,
Is Peking University the same as Peking University? Isn't that like the top school in China?
yeah, it's
It's
like
like the
the
Harvard of
Harvard
China, right?
of,
Wow.
Of
yeah, yeah.
China.
I think like, and you have to test in. And my dad, I think back then the acceptance rate was like 1 in 1,000 or something like that.
Dang.
Wow.
So
He gouged
yeah,
the crap out of it, I guess. They,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
yeah,
have
yeah.
pretty good
My
genes. You have really good genes.
well, I'm not sure. I think my parents and I have always said like I'm just not as book smart as them,
and yet you guys do.
which I'm fine with,
But yeah, you got into
So
Duke.
how did that happen?
Well,
Did
I
they
did, I
Crazy.
did your
did.
parents like say, "Hey, we were smart, and so you better work your butt off to get into a top school"?
What's interesting, I was never a good
Huh.
student in China. So my grandfather started teaching me English when I was 5. I started reciting Chinese poem when I was 3. So I was like definitely, homeschooled from a very early age. And when I actually got into school, I had no intention of studying. I'm like
Yeah.
playtime, right? Because when
Yeah.
I got into school, I was already kind of ahead of
Wait,
my
when you say got
peers.
into school, you're talking
So
about when you got into US when you were 13?
no, like in
Just
grade
Oh,
school
in
in
China. Okay.
yeah, when
China.
you would show up at
Okay.
school, it meant
And I'm
that was my
like,
fun time because you were
yeah,
working
this
so
is my
hard
fun
outside
time
of it.
Yeah.
now. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm already ahead of everyone, like in terms of academics, right? Like I already was studying English when I was like 5 years old, and in China back then, you didn't have English class until you were in like fourth or fifth grade. So I was like, it's playtime because I'm already ahead of everyone. So I wasn't a very good student And my grandfather being a math teacher, like my math was my like least, like that's my worst subject. I failed math tests all
Really?
the time. And in China,
Yeah.
where you're in school, I don't think it's the case now, but in school back then, you actually had a lunch break where you went back home to have lunch and you came back to school for the afternoon session. So when I failed a math test, I would be so afraid of going back home. I just stayed in school. Like my grandmother had to come to school to get me. Yeah, so I was not a
But
very
what
good
about when you came to
student
the
in
States though?
China.
Did that change? It must have changed if you got into Duke.
Yeah, that changed.
Yeah, otherwise
Amazingly
Duke would not have
so.
let you in.
Amazingly so. Actually, my parents were quite worried. And I think part of the reason I wasn't a very good student is because of my grandfather. Like him being a very educated and being a teacher, every time I couldn't do something, I asked him like, "Hey, how do I do this?" And my grandfather was a very, very good teacher. He's just a very bad teacher when it comes to his own granddaughter. Instead of teaching me, he gave me the answers. So I relied on him just to give me the answers. And so like in our school, our class, I couldn't draw something. He drew it for me. So when I came to
Yeah.
the US, my parents were actually legitimately concerned. They're like, well, we don't like they were in grad school. They were in the chemistry department. So chemistry, if you were getting a PhD, you spend your whole time in the lab. And that's during the day and after dinner. So they went back to the lab after dinner to do experiments. So they're like, we have no time to help her with her studies. So what are we going to do if she's not a good student, right? So they were legitimately concerned. But I guess when you threw me, when you left me to my own myself, I found out that I was not a bad student and I actually can draw. Like I
Yeah,
actually
and
won
you
a
can
drawing
draw.
contest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, hey, I'm winning drawing contest. Like whatever I draw, the teacher is like showing the class as to how good it is. I'm like, what is happening here? Right. Like I shocked myself, to be honest. So I guess it's a good surprise. It's a good surprise.
No,
So
that's,
yeah.
I mean, the fact that you got into Duke, but who was even telling you that, how did you even know that you wanted to go to Duke? Like, did your parents even
Yeah.
know what the, top schools were? Were they even saying, you should go to Harvard or MIT?
So when I applied to college, that was in 1989. I had only been in this country for 4 years. So I took the PSAT. My verbal score was extremely low. My parents and the school counselor did not expect me to get into any top schools. Um, I was in the honors program. I was like number seven in class in high school, but I don't think anyone expected me to get into a good school. Now, why I wanted to go to a good school, I mean, being Chinese, right? We lived in Delaware. Delaware had DuPont and Hercules, where there was a
Okay.
lot of Chinese scientists. And they're from like Taiwan, mainland, and all of their kids were like overachievers, right? Like perfect score on the SAT, play the piano, number one in piano competitions. And so if you like compare me to those Chinese kids, I'm like bottom, right? Like bottom, bottom. I didn't play any instruments. I definitely did not score perfect on the SAT. So no one expected me to go to a good school. Um, Actually, the six schools I applied to, Duke and Cornell, were the only top schools. I definitely had a lot of backup
Oh,
schools.
okay. I see.
So when I got into Duke, the school counselor was definitely surprised. My parents
Right.
basically, yeah, my parents basically said to me, they'll send me to any school, they'll pay for any tuition of any schools I get into, how expensive they are. And if I'm successful as an adult, they're not gonna want any money from me if I'm successful. But I'm not successful. I'm on my own after college. They'll support me through college. And if I become homeless after college, don't ask them for
Nice.
support. So that was made very clear to me. But you know what? I think what's important, Wayne, as to why I wanted to go to school and is the what I saw my parents do, right?
Ah,
I'm gonna get a little emotional, but my parents, when they came here to go to grad school, my dad was 35. So he went into a factory as a factory worker at 25. By the time
wow.
he came to the US, he was
Wow.
35.
He was going to
It's a
school at
long
At
35.
10
That's
years,
time.
crazy.
He
That's like
was just
going to
a
prison.
factory worker, right? So when he got into Bowling Green State University in their grad program for chemistry, so I think their story is much better than my story, and their story paved the roads for why I'm successful. So my dad, when he first came here in 1980, he was 35. He hadn't even graduated from Beijing University when Cultural Revolution erupted. So he doesn't have a college degree. He The only program that accepted him was Bowling Green State University as a grad
Wow.
student in their chemistry department. Back then, there was no TOEFL. He came here speaking no English because he studied Russian. When
Man.
TOEFL is the English
when
test.
he
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, the TOEFL, right. There was no TOEFL because it was so early. He came here and they said, well, you didn't graduate from college, so we kind of have to test your chemistry
Mm.
level. So they made him take a sort of a standardized chemistry test to test his level. My dad said, can I bring a English
Yeah.
dictionary? And his professor said, well, we're testing your chemistry, we're not testing your English. So
Yeah.
he brought his Chinese English dictionary. Long story short, he tested the highest ever in the
What the?
school's history on that test. Chinese students, English students,
Wow. And
everybody.
he barely
He
spoke
still
English.
knows that.
He
He could
barely
not
read the
speak English.
questions.
Crazy.
Wow.
Right. So he
Yeah.
had to use his dictionary.
Wow.
He, in the whole test, and I don't know how many questions he got two questions wrong. And he got those questions wrong because he's never seen those questions before. So he still holds that record.
Wow.
Even the people in that program after he graduated, like, know of my dad and how great of a student he is. So he came here as at 35, master's program. So master's and PhD program generally would take 7 years. It took my dad 5 years to complete both master's and PhD. He finished his PhD program at University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. So he
Wow.
was in a graduate school program with 20-year-olds, and he's 35. By the time he got his
It was
PhD
like 40.
degree, it was 40.
Wow.
Now, my mom was a chemical engineering background. She came in 1982, and she had to change from chemical engineering to chemistry. So she went through the same undergraduate program at Bowling Green State University, and then she finished her PhD program at University of Illinois. Now, that process, I mean, what they went through is much harder for someone who, at their age, who didn't speak English, to finish their graduate program at the top of their class, and at 40 to be able to find a job for someone who had no visa, right? They, like, any company's hiring a 40-year-old, they have to understand that they're only getting maybe 20 years out of them. And also they had to like go through the visa process to get the green card, to pay for lawyers, to get the green card for my parents. So there was a lot of cost associated with hiring a 40-year-old. So, but my parents got hired because they were simply like the best, right? When they looked at all the candidates. So I think my parents, I guess the American dream, right? Like if you
Yeah,
work hard,
absolutely.
this whole American dream, like if you work hard, it's
They
gonna
made
pay off.
it. They made it. There's
They made it.
Yeah.
They
That's
made it.
awesome.
And the fact that they made it made me see that hard work does pay off, right? So, like you said, I got into Duke. I had to do a lot of work to get into Duke, meaning I had to improve my SAT score from
Right.
the 460 of verbal score that I got on the PSAT. Like I could not get into any good schools without improving that score. So I did put in a lot of work in improving my SAT verbal score from 460 to 600. That was like the best I can do
Yeah.
over a
But I
summer.
mean, your parents obviously set the stage, showed you what the American dream
Yep.
was, helped you kind of get inspired. You got to Duke, then you got a great job. You were working at Deloitte and all. And then you mentioned that you actually moved back from the States to Shanghai for a couple of years. And was that you were married at the time and was it
Well,
to
that was
kind
the
of
only reason I moved back because Jin at the time, my ex-husband was in China, and he was going to be in China pretty much indefinitely.
So Jin, this
I
is the
think
guy
it
that he was on our podcast, like at our third, fourth episode. So the crypto guy.
yeah.
Just for anybody else.
He was
The
on there,
crypto guy.
and the
Crypto guy.
odd inner circle thing here is that
Yeah.
Jin was your ex-husband, and before he married you, he dated my wife, and then currently my wife and you are best friends.
Yeah,
So
best friends.
it's kind of a
I'm
whole
the,
weird.
and I'm the godmother.
And,
I'm the godmother.
You guys need-
Ella and
and you're
Emma.
the
You need to draw a
godmother
diagram
of
out.
our
You need to
daughter.
diagram it out.
Yeah, and I think
And actually,
when
everybody's
guys-
still friends with Jin. Actually,
Yes,
I
and I'm
think,
still
as far
friends
as I
with
know.
Yeah, I'm not friends with Jen. I think Jen is I think he's a great friend. He's definitely a better friend than a husband than he ever was. But I think
Can you
I
say
remember
why?
when you guys asked,
Is that a?
Yeah.
Can you say?
Yeah, what are the reasons
Wha-
why? Like,
Why is he a better friend?
not good in bed, or I don't know.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
That you have to ask him.
Okay.
That you have to ask him. Why he's a better
Okay,
friend. I think
we won't. But
yeah, you have
I
to
think
ask
he
him
would
why-
even admit to that. Honestly, I think he may have even said something like that.
that's funny.
That he's
Yeah, maybe
yeah.
he disagrees and maybe he agrees. I think he's I'm not sure.
Okay. Well,
I
we don't have to
definitely-
dive into that.
you know-
But okay, back to the
Yeah.
story then.
But
So
what
you-
a weird circle,
Yeah.
anyway, just for the audience.
Yeah.
There.
So
Very
you
weird.
went to Shanghai.
Yes.
So you went to Shanghai, not
I went to
specifically for
Shanghai.
Jin.
Yeah, so now the marriage was short-lived, right? We got married in 2009. The divorce was completed in 2012. Included, like, the marriage did not last very long. So when people say, "Oh, did you know you were like gonna get divorced or whatnot?" Of course you don't, but in some sense you kind of did, because no one gets married and divorced in that short amount of time. And then you say, "Yeah, I had no clue that divorce was coming." So of course they were red flags and whatnot. But I moved to China, and I didn't really want to move to China because even though I grew up in China, my personality is very, very different from the typical Chinese personality. And even my family were concerned about me moving and working in China, that I wouldn't
Well,
get
how are you
along
different than
in
an
that-
average Asian?
in the environment. I'm very outspoken. I'm very direct. I don't beat around the bush. I don't know
filtering, no filtering.
That's true.
I've been
Actually,
around.
Asians are the other way usually,
don't-
right? They're kind of more reserved. They don't want
Right.
to.
I don't read between the lines. Like, I'm like, "Oh, are you trying to say something that you're not actually saying?" So I'm just not that personality. So they thought I would get into a lot of conflicts
fights.
because I was very direct. So they were concerned, and I didn't want to go back because of that reason. Because I had gone back not for work related, right? For vacations. And I've always got into altercations with Chinese people because I just can't stand the way they act in public.
So
right?
is America
So-
different? Like you're able to like not get in fights here? I feel like you'd get in more fights in America.
Oh yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And then like I just don't want to get my ass kicked or get killed here by picking a fight with the wrong person,
true.
right? Like my parents are concerned about every time I have road rage. Like, "Alice, don't have road rage because you might get killed," right? Like you never know what the other person might.
How
do.
often do you
Yeah,
have
that
road
is
rage?
true. I have had road rage. Yeah, I have had it.
There's a self-preservation.
Have you ever
like,
done anything crazy with road rage? Have you like thrown an egg at somebody or like rode down the window or anything?
Oh, I rolled down the window.
And
for
what
sure,
would you yell?
know?
What's the craziest thing that you would yell?
Oh my God, you fucking ugly bitch or whatever.
Okay, yeah, maybe you could get
Yeah.
shot, I guess.
Yeah, well,
I
at
mean,
the time,
the
yeah.
wrong
I mean,
person, right? People do carry,
Yeah.
concealed weapons, and
Yeah, they do.
that's
So
crazy.
yeah, when I was doing that, I rolled down the passenger side window because the person was on the other side. And my
Right.
boyfriend at the time rolled up the window as I was spewing out these.
Right.
And I'm like, rolling the window down as he's trying to roll the window up. So
I'm trying to
anyways,
imagine whether you could do that in China. Like, what would happen if you were yelling like that in China? Because in Hong Kong, I feel like people are cursing at people all the time. "Diu nei lo mo," all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Like, they're all...
Yeah, they do, and they'll say something like, "Oh, how can a pretty girl like you say stuff like that?" They just say like that. Anyways, yeah, so I did not really want to go back to China, but I have to say, despite the divorce, like that experience was great. Like I never lived in China as an adult, right? As working in China. And of course, like I had altercations with Chinese people, not different than if I had visited, but I truly enjoyed that living experience of living in Shanghai for the 2 years.
That's awesome.
The food, the clubs,
the food, club.
going to cities near Shanghai to visit over weekends.
I love China.
I actually got a bike and rode a bike around Shanghai.
Nice.
That was cool that I didn't get killed, right? Shanghai drivers are crazy. Shanghai traffic is crazy.
Yeah, but I love China nowadays. It's just so modern. I mean, everybody that comes on, I talk about.
It's awesome.
It's amazing. When's the last time you went there?
Hey, we wanted to ask you about the whole, that China has improved, no more spitting or picking the nose and all of that. And then, is it because the government put in place this whole rating
the social credit thing.
Is that real? The social credit thing? Is that real, or is that just that China has gotten better?
Actually, I've heard about the social credit thing. I've actually not asked any of my friends. I don't know, I guess, like how real or how present or prevalent it is to the common people. I've definitely heard about that, but I just don't know like if it's true. I can ask my family and friends, but it's never come up in our conversation. And I'm like in constant contact with my friends and family in China. But I think
let's explain what it is. So there's like this rumor going around in America, I think, that says there's this social credit system where there's all these cameras that's watching everybody in China.
Yeah. Yes,
and if you jaywalk or if you spit, whatever, you get these points docked off, and then something happens.
Yeah. So when I'm in China and when I'm trying to jaywalk, they definitely say don't jaywalk, because people jaywalked all the time when I was in China, and now like they're like don't jaywalk because there are cameras. Even in Hong Kong, mainland China, they're like don't jaywalk.
But what happens if you do? Do you get a ticket or what?
I think they do give you a fine or something, right? Like there are cameras everywhere. So, but the cameras everywhere, like the Americans would say, oh my God, that is a
privacy
huge infringement on my privacy and blah, blah, blah. But the fact is the camera is also like nothing is all good or bad. The good thing about having cameras everywhere is it does deter crime. Like China is safe. I mean, I only speak about Shanghai. Shanghai is safe, right? Like I can go to a convenience store at 2 a.m. by myself and I'm not worried. I'm just not worried. There is no fucking way I'm even going out to a convenience store in the US as soon as it's dark, depending on the neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
So the cameras, there's a lot of, everything's facial recognition. You go to a park, they basically put a camera in front of you.
You think they know where everybody is, like just based on their face, like everybody, like all 3 billion people in China? That's some serious AI.
We all look alike. How can it?
That's really good AI. Tell Asians apart.
Yeah, that's why they're like, you do anything, you steal a car, they find you. They'll just find you.
That seems crazy. That seems insane. That seems insane to me. Actually, a lot of the IG videos and stuff that I see is people saying that whoever thinks there is a social credit system is insane. Because they all say there's no such thing.
That there really isn't.
Hard to implement.
Yeah.
I can ask them. No, I think it is true that there are people who have done things when they travel overseas that embarrass the Chinese people or the Chinese government. Their passport have been restricted. I think that is true.
Actually,
there's a lot of social media of Chinese people just doing crazy things, right? Like having their kids pee outside of LV or poop outside of LV or whatever because they can't find a bathroom or whatever. Those people, I think, they've been blacklisted.
So there's some government blacklist where if you do something crazy, you're on the list. Are you on the list? Have you ever been on the list?
Government. Luckily, hope not to. But like, it's the saving face, right? Like if the Chinese government feels like you have embarrassed them, they will not treat you kindly. So
okay, well, let me wrap up the rest of this part of the podcast by asking you the first question we like to ask. What is the thing in your life? Well, so in the past I've asked about what people are most proud of, but I'm going to go opposite with you, Alice. You seem like an opposite type of person. What is the thing in life that you most regret?
Honestly, I really can't think of anything that I've done in my life that I regret. Now, have I always made the best decision that result in nothing bad happening to me? I don't think I have. Not every decision I made is the perfect decision, but I made the best decision based on the information I had at the time. Now, I think every experience, just like everything else in life, there's nothing that's all good or bad. So in my experiences, all my experience shape who I am today, and I've learned something from all of my experiences, and because of that, I don't think I regret anything.
Nothing,
in my
huh?
life.
Not even marrying Jin?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, not even marrying Jin, because marrying Jin made me realize that I never want to get married.
Yeah, right.
So you
learn to not ever want to marry another Jin.
Exactly.
So there you go.
So you never
Brilliant.
so you never
that's
want to get married
positive,
again?
right? That experience made me realize, like, because I got married at 35. Even before I got married, I said I never want to get married. But then I said, oh, I'm 35. Maybe let me try it. Maybe I was wrong. Then I realized I wasn't wrong.
You were
Now,
right.
people can say, you just married the wrong person. It's not marriage is wrong. You just married the wrong person. But for whatever reason it is, I think, now I'm very firm in my conviction that I will never get married.
You definitely never want to get married. So like even if you meet,
I never saw the point before I got married, that I just don't see a point in getting married, and I still don't see a point in getting married.
Yeah.
So even if you found like a love
view.
of your life, the most awesome dude ever, you just be like, I ain't gonna marry you.
That's right. What's the point?
Right.
But you can still be happy together with that person, but there's it's the legal parts, which a lot of people are like, I don't need that.
I understand. Yeah, I understand. Like, to me, marriage, if you want to have kids, it's a more logistical step. To me, marriage is not necessary if you don't have kids.
So you
like,
definitely
to me,
not want to have kids either?
Well, I can't have kids anymore. So, like, my age, but I'm sorry for you guys. I mean, nothing.
Well, because you have balls, right?
That's right. That's why you can't have kids.
That's
I
why.
love the fact that I don't have kids. I love it. I just love it. Not to say, I know you both have kids, and I love Ella and Emma, but I am so glad that
Wow, that's very emphatic. So glad.
Part of that comes from that you've hung out with my kids, and so you're kind of like, thank God they're not mine.
No, actually, a lot of it is because of what the future may hold for the new generation. I just think it's super scary. I would be freaked out to have kids these days, to just the uncertainty with the future, with AI, with the politics, with
trying to get them into college,
increasing hostility between the countries, and I just like don't view this. I only see it escalating in the wrong way versus de-escalating and going the other way. So I think that has a lot to do with my being thankful that I don't have.
I totally agree. Actually, there's been times where I thought, like, with my kids, like, would I encourage them to move to China? Like, I feel like the U.S. is kind of going in this very weird direction. But anyway, Wayne, you were supposed to gong it like 5 minutes ago. All right, Wayne hits the gong. That is our signal for going into the Haru quiz. We got to ask you some questions to make sure you actually are Asian. You look Asian, but we got to make sure. So let's ask you some Haru questions. All right. So these are all pertinent to you in some way, although in ways that maybe people don't know about. So the first question is about playing billiards or pool. You play a lot of pool, right? Like a ton.
I do. That's the one hobby that I spend the most time on.
That is so unique. Actually, my son and I are totally getting into it now. My son especially. We have a pool table, and he's always like, Dad, will you play? So we're totally getting into it now. All right, so first question should hopefully be super easy for you. I wonder if you know, Wayne. What is the name of the Korean pool shark that was ranked #1 in the 90s? It was a woman.
It's
the one that
not Black
Widow. That is correct. Jeanette Lee. Did you follow her? Like, did you know?
Well, you're not a big fan of her, right?
I knew of her, but no, I did not follow her career. I did not follow her career. I didn't really follow any pros career until probably like starting 10 years ago, when I really tried to focus on improving my game.
Wow. Yeah, because so I only followed her because I played a little bit of pool, and I was like, oh, hey, there's an actual Asian that's like, she's, I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, she was definitely the most well-known, and that's great, right? It's great.
She was kind of pretty.
Do you know her, Wayne?
Hot,
she's like a Michelle Wee kind of.
I remember her. Yeah.
Yeah. So what got
Yeah.
you into it, Alice? I mean, most people don't, like, most Asian women don't get
Well,
into it.
so when my parents were in grad school, they took the little time they had, they wanted to do exercise, and they went to the student center to play badminton. I was 13, 14 at the time. I didn't want to play badminton. In the student center, there was a pool table. So when they took me with them, I was just walking around, saw the pool table, and started hitting balls. And that literally is
Wow.
how I started playing pool. And that hobby, I kept that hobby throughout my life.
Do,
Even in college years, I skipped
really?
classes
Do you have a
to
table in
play
your house
pool
now,
in the
or do you go
student
like to the
center.
pool hall, the CD pool hall?
In when
Yeah.
nowadays? Well, the seedy pool places are more like bars, right? And
Yeah.
then the pool halls can be seedy, but they're generally not that
Oh, they
seedy
have
in the
like nice pool
US.
halls? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, 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 very nice. Yeah. The nicest one is in Fremont, unfortunately. That's like 45
Oh,
minutes from
wow.
me, but that's the nicest
Okay.
one. Yeah.
Okay, question number
Well, it's the
two.
perfect
Yeah.
sport for Alice because she's always been a ball buster.
There you go,
So
ball
there you
buster.
go.
Oh, so but you know what though?
Yeah.
You guys know that Jeanette Lee, she has a big issue. The Black Widow, she has a big issue with scoliosis now because I think she's like
Yeah,
bent
yeah,
over all the
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it sounds like a
Yeah.
huge thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
be careful.
It is.
Really
It
sad.
is. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. The next question is about Shanghai, I suppose. All right, so there are two universities in the Shanghai area that are partnered with American top universities, one being NYU Shanghai, which is where my oldest daughter is going right now. What is the
Yeah.
second school called? This is a long shot if you know this one, but it is very relatable to you. That's the big clue.
Carnegie Mellon?
Well, they might have had one there,
Duke?
but they're not that big there.
Is it
It's Duke. It's Duke. It's called Kunshan.
Of
Duke.
course.
I
Have you
thought-
Of course.
have you heard of Kunshan?
Yeah, I thought it was Duke. Yeah. No, I didn't. No, I
Oh,
haven't
okay.
been.
Yeah. So they have a campus right outside of Shanghai, and it's the same deal as NYU Shanghai. It's Duke. You get a Duke degree and everything, but you go to school in
Yeah.
Shanghai. I think
That's
they're the
pretty
only two
cool.
schools that do that. But
Yeah, I was surprised to learn that, but yeah, it's pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Well, my daughter's having a fun time. She's actually down in Australia now doing boarding or whatever,
Nice.
doing the remote program.
Wow,
Yeah.
because she's already going to school abroad, and then
Abroad.
in school she's going abroad again. It's like double abroad.
Abroad.
Yeah.
Okay, so this
Yeah.
last one is because I assume you have an awesome skincare routine based on the video. So I'm going to ask you about
Yeah.
Just look at her skin right
right.
there, audience out
I'm
there.
going to ask you about
Baby soft.
baby soft.
Baby
Whenever
soft,
Wayne
yeah.
touches your face,
Yeah.
it's baby soft.
That's right. That's right.
All right, so
Yeah.
which one of these is not an ingredient in Korean skincare products? So you've probably tried them all. My son actually does this stuff too. Which one of these is not an ingredient? Horse oil, snail slime, eel eyes, or deer antler? Which one have you not put on your face before?
I guess I'll take a guess. I actually don't know much about skincare,
Really?
but I guess snail eyes?
It's 50% true. It's snail slime. They do have eel eyes. They do not.
Oh my God. I'm gonna give that to you.
You got half
because
of it.
What the?
Yeah, so you don't do the
Yeah.
skincare stuff? Even my son does it. He actually
I
he-
do the skincare
Yeah.
stuff, but I only started maybe like 8 years ago. I used to use Neutrogena.
Oh, that's very American.
This is great.
I used to use that too.
Yeah.
But I do masks and stuff, but I would say I'm not a fanatic into
Oh,
skincare.
really? Okay. So you didn't know all the ingredients. I thought you would have known them all. My son actually uses
No.
the snail slime stuff. He orders it from Amazon. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, what the hell are you doing?
Is it working? I mean, how would he know? Because he's
Yeah.
so young. Like,
Yeah,
how
when
would
you're
he-
so young, like my daughters are into it too, and I'm like, it's so
Yeah.
dumb. You have youthful
Exactly.
skin.
Isn't that crazy
Just
though?
don't
Well, so
touch
my
it.
son, because he's a teenager now, and so gets zits and stuff, and so he actually has this routine.
Yeah.
He'll get up half hour, 45 minutes early, so he could put stuff on his face, wait for a while, then it's this whole thing. Like kids are into that now.
Oh,
There's
yeah. I was lucky. I never had acne.
so that's why you didn't
Never
need to do the
in my-
skincare stuff. You're natural,
I was
Yeah,
lucky. I
you're
was
natural.
lucky. I was
all
lucky.
natural, awesome. Well, good for you. So, Wayne, how did Alice do today on our horror? Because have we confirmed?
Yeah.
Have we confirmed that she is
I would
indeed
say she's
Asian?
confirmed.
Very Asian.
She is
She
confirmed.
is confirmed.
She's confirmed.
All right. So,
Very
last question for the
Asian.
podcast then. So, we want to hear what your life tip is for the Asians out there.
Don't have a checklist and don't always listen to your parents.
What? That's so not Asian.
Yeah. Yeah, that's opposite
I
Asian.
always have a checklist.
Yeah.
And, well, I guess I don't always listen to my mom.
Well, I would say
Yeah,
not
that's
don't
for sure.
listen to your parents, but especially for Asians, right? Don't
Yeah.
don't make your decision based on what your parents want you to
yeah.
do. And there's no such thing as a checklist for life.
Interesting. Do you have a daily checklist,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
what you need to do today?
I have a daily checklist. I just don't have a life checklist.
Oh, you mean like
checklist.
like a
If
bucket
you-
list more of the thing? You mean like a...
But yeah, like hey, I have to get married by a certain age. I have to have a
Oh,
kid. I
right,
have to
right.
have a job.
Yeah, I have
in
to have a
this
kid.
industry.
I've got to.
I have to
yeah.
make this much money by this time. I that's the checklist.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
I've got to be
I thought you were
partner.
like-
I have to
I
have
thought
this
you're like,
title.
don't have a calendar, like don't have a reminder list. I'm like, how do you live without
No,
that?
no. Like if you ask me where do I see myself in 5 years, and that's a question you get in interviews and whatnot, I've always said I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I just don't know.
That's
Like
a great
I
answer.
literally I think people it's important for people to make the best decision based on not what they think is gonna happen, but make their decision based on the information they have today and what is the worst consequence of your decision. If you're willing to accept the worst consequence of your decision, no matter how unlikely it's gonna happen, then that is like how I make my decisions, right? Like what is the information I have today and what is the worst consequences of my decision? If I'm willing to accept that, like driving without a license, what is the worst consequence? I get a ticket, blah, 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 blah. Am I willing to accept that? Then I'm not going to bring my license for a 5-minute trip.
So you don't have a
rolling
license?
down your window and calling somebody an effing bitch. You know,
Yeah.
what's the worst that could happen? You
get
might
shot.
die. You could die.
If the
And
worst
you're like-
consequence is my road rage is going to get me killed and I'm not willing to accept that consequence, then I won't do it.
But then
back
here you
down.
are, still doing it a lot.
Well, I pick my
Nice.
victims. I see how
The ones that-
roughly I can get
Some old
killed.
Yeah, they
lady,
don't
some
have a
old
gun.
lady driving by, and you're like, you freaking bitch.
No, yeah, you can't even hear what I'm saying because you're f***ing deaf.
That's right.
Hilarious. All right, well, good advice for everybody. Thanks a bunch, Alice, for being on. It's a fun conversation with you. Good to hear.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
We are sponsored by none other than the Coder School, a company that teaches kids how to code with over 70 locations all around the country. So if you're interested in getting your kids to code, head online and check us out. Learn to code, change the world. Thanks for listening.